Welcome back to Straight Facts Homie. We continue here in our Trusted Voices segment. Time to bring in a guy that I have just enjoyed watching him take off over the last 4 or 5 years, and that's NFL insider extraordinaire Jordan Schultz. Jordan, thanks for being with us today, man.
Trey, my pleasure. And I can say that I've watched you and enjoyed you for decades. And I don't want to age you, but it's a testament to you.
It's too late. There's no way around that one. Just a real quick aside, when I was doing the radio show with Golick, Jordan came in one day and did the show, and I knew right away that you were going to go places because your energy and your passion for what you're doing was so off the charts. And I remember you started basically doing NBA stuff, right? That was your foray. That's what really got you into it, right? When you started this thing, you really were more of an NBA guy than anything else.
It was, Trey. Basketball was my first love in many ways. I loved baseball. I played baseball in high school and was pretty good at it. But basketball, I played in college for 4 years, and I pursued it as far as I could. And naturally, for me, covering basketball and specifically the NBA and even some college hoops in the draft was that was the natural fit. But as I quickly realized, I didn't feel like there was enough real estate, not only across the league, but just at ESPN, because everything was so Woj had such a stranglehold on everything, and he was so much the guy that there wasn't really an opportunity for me to break in. And I remember having this conversation with several people at ESPN at the time, and one of them was Max Kellerman, who was kind enough to have me on First Take. And he said, listen, we like you, the producers like you, but they don't really know what you are. Are you an NBA guy? Are you a generalist? Are you going to be a columnist? And so that really opened up my eyes, and I felt like I had enough inroads with football and the NFL 3 years ago to make the change. And then I just took a leap of faith. I felt like there was enough white space in football to pursue it, and that's what I did.
Listen, I love that answer, and I'll tell you why. Because my career has been defined by leaps of faith. Okay, and sometimes you just have to say fuck it and just take your shot. Before I got into television, before I got my first on-air job, I was approached by Mark McCormick, who I'm sure you know who he is. He founded IMG since he's since passed away. He created sports marketing, basically. His first two clients were Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer. Good job, Mark. Way to pick the right guys. And then he founded International Management Group, and he wrote the books, Everything the Harvard Business School Doesn't Tell You, and the subsequent sequel. But he created basically sports marketing. Okay, so I was working as a page at NBC in the late 1980s. Basically seat people, give out tickets to Saturday Night Live, guided tours of the building, all the crap, just to get a foot in the door. And I got an interview with Mark McCormick at IMG, and he was like, "Hey, we want to offer you this job. It's in sports marketing. We're working with our Wimbledon clothing line, Mark Cross pens.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. We're going to send you to Wimbledon," and the salary was good.
How old were you?
I was 23.
Okay, so you just graduated school.
Graduated school. Just gotten out there, 23 or 24. And I said yes. And then I went home and I thought about it, and I'm like, if I take this job and I don't try the thing that I really want to do, which is sports reporting, anchoring sports, talking about sports, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. So I turned him down. I called him up the next day and said, "Hey, I'm sorry. I just have to do this other thing." And he, rightly so, was like, "Are you the dumbest person ever?" What? I'm offering you this great opportunity. Yeah. I'm offering you this. The reason I bring this story up is because you said you decided to take a leap of faith. So I took a leap of faith to turn down what would have been the greatest job I could have had right out of school, made me a ton of money early. And the kicker is, halfway through my career at ESPN, I got a call from Sandy Montag, who then worked at IMG, and he's like, "We want to rep you." So by taking the leap of faith like you did, instead of working for that company, I took the leap of faith, and that company worked for me. And so that's why I appreciate you saying, "Hey, I'm going to take a leap of faith here," because sometimes you just have to do it.
Wow. Can I ask you, what did your parents say?
They were very supportive, honestly. Wow, they were very supportive. My dad was a reporter for Life magazine, and then was the bureau chief for the Vietnam War.
Sure.
So we lived in Hong Kong. So he understood. He took a very unusual path, like your father. And so they were like, hey, go for it. But it was and my dad actually helped me get the interview. So he's like, I understand, but I wish you had said this before he offered you the job. But
wow.
They were understanding. They were understanding, but obviously, I'm sure they were a little trepidatious about it.
Yeah, I actually, that's really cool, man. To that point, just to come full circle a little bit, is I took a big leap of faith recently, and I ultimately decided that no longer was going to work for Fox, and it's really tough to leave a corporation of that magnitude. And
what was behind that decision? Just out of curiosity.
So I loved working there. I was there for a year, and it was great. It was really great. I loved the experiences of going on the different shows and being on a established network and all the validity that gave me. I loved the opportunity to express my opinion and insights and information. The hardest part for me was the travel back and forth. Yeah. Every week I'd leave on Wednesdays. Probably it was like a 2:30 flight. I'd take out of Newark. I'd land about 6:37 in LA, grab a quick bite, go to bed, and then I was on TV all day Thursday and Friday. And then I'd take the red-eye Friday night from LAX, land in JFK or Newark or whichever airport about 6 a.m. And then, I'd basically try to be dad for the rest of the weekend. And what was hard about that was obviously you're missing time Wednesday through Friday, but you're also then pretty gassed the whole weekend. Sure. And then you got to turn around in 3 days again and do it again. So that was a big wake-up call for me because on one hand, I loved it. On the other, having 2 young kids. And then now they're doing, hockey and cheer and figure skating and all their baseball. I was starting to miss things that I knew I would never get back. Correct. And you mentioned my dad. My dad was on the road a ton as a kid. He traveled relentlessly. He was in Asia once a quarter, not to mention everything else. And he always did something that I really appreciated, which was he would always make it a big effort, big point of emphasis to come back for my games. He never missed big games. And he always coached, and I always appreciated that, even more so now than when I was as a kid, than when I did as a kid, because I didn't even really understand it then. Now I really understand it, how he would come back and always be there for me, because I want to do that for my children. And so that was the biggest reason why I felt like, as much as I love this, Trey, that it wasn't going to be tenable, not only this year, but just long-term for me. And so what I did was I ultimately started my own YouTube channel, much like you have, and we launched it last week, and it's really hopefully going to become a real voice for the player, especially NFL, but hopefully some other sports as well, but certainly focus on football. And but that was a big decision, and one that took a lot of soul searching. And this summer has been, or was, I'd say almost every day, multiple meetings trying to figure out, do I want to do this, and how are we going to do this? And it took a lot out of me emotionally, because I felt like I was, when you go from a big network to your own network, your own thing, it's hard not to feel like you're going small time. That's how I felt. And I had to remove that from my head.
Well, listen, the best thing about this is you're going to love your boss because it's you.
Exactly.
Okay, that's the best part. You control how you want to do this, and I really respect that. And for those that don't know, and I'm sure I don't know who, your father is Howard Schultz, a former CEO of Starbucks. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. So I respect the hustle that he did, and to your point, I respect what you're doing. The great thing about when I did NFL Live or the 6 o'clock Sports Center was I didn't miss a kid's recital, I didn't miss a game, I didn't miss a cheer competition, I didn't miss anything. I saw all of that. So I applaud your efforts in that situation, and you're right. As I sit here with 2 kids that are now at least 30 years old, wow. It goes fast, and you don't get them back. So kudos to you for making that decision, and I think things are going to work out just fine for you.
Thank you, Trey. I really appreciate that.
I'm not concerned. And what's the name of the show?
The show is The Schultz Report, but I also have Why is Draymond Green Talking About Football. I just got this fancy mug made, and so it's 2 shows, and the channel is just Jordan Schultz. So I appreciate that, and Again, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure, and I love you on golf coverage too. Just to full transparency, I love golf, so I love watching you do that as well. For NBC.
It's going to be fun. We've got some good stuff coming up on our YouTube channel that we're going to do a lot of golf content as well.